When I first realized that I had to do things alone is when I started going backwards. And a lot of us see this. We tend to go backwards, and you know you should be going forward. And you try to look around and say to yourself, why am I going backwards? You know why. You know why.
What?
We're playing a game of hide and seek, so you could talk to them about that.
Talk to them about us playing hide and go seek. I know what.
Tell them the whole video until you end it, and I don't want to hear a no. Do it. Nope. I want to hear.
I want to talk about how some people feel alone out here, but they're not lonely. And there's a difference. You can choose to be alone in order to get your life on track and get it together. But lonely is a person that feels as though they can't find love, or they could be in a relationship and don't feel like no one is looking at them, but they can still be in a relationship feeling lost in it, like it's no reason to be there. And they end up becoming lonely in a relationship. So we're not talking about that. We're talking about the alone part. And I want to talk about this because you see a lot of people today in this world feeling like they are alone. And the thing is, of being alone, they feel as though that they have to operate this way in order to get everything on track. Because this is the thing, if you can't figure life out, you need to take a time out and restructure your mindset to see exactly where you're trying to go. And if you don't understand where you're trying to go, you really need to search what's going to make you a better person in life. No one becomes a better person overnight just by waking up. You have to become a better person by looking at your life and seeing a lifestyle that you want, that you feel as though you can conquer and you can achieve it. And the funny thing is, what's making me talk about this is because I was thinking about my own self, like getting out of a relationship, or should I say out of a marriage. And I'm not going to say I felt lonely, but I'm not going to get into that. I'm going to just talk about alone. I felt as though in life I conquered so much by myself because I achieved more by myself. And I don't know why that's like that. I don't know if that is because that I lived alone for majority of my life. And this is the crazy part. I'm not going to say always, most of my life, I always had a girl all the time. But I never lived with them. I stay over there a couple nights, then I go home, or they stay over my crib. And what happened is, I think it started from an early age, like just growing up. Once I became 18, and my mom decided that she had to move closer to her job, and I had to go. Now, mind you, I turned 18. I just graduated, and I looked at that as a chance to be able to spread my wings and to be able to get a chance to be able to breathe. And when I talk about breathing, I'm talking about being alone, being able to become a man. I felt like that was part of my phase of becoming a man. I don't know why I thought that way. I guess because I grew up in a house with nothing but women. And it's not I'm not going to say it's always a bad thing, but this is the thing. When you living in a household, me, with a bunch of women, man, it just felt chaotic. I'm not saying it was I don't want to say it's bad, but I'm going to just say that it's not for a man. To all that noise, it just felt like a lot of noise. A lot of noise, and it just, I don't know. I just felt like I needed to be by myself. And when I did that, I was able to stay, and my mom ended up moving, and then I ended up having a taste of what it's like to be by myself by staying at her old house, which she still has now. Still have it. And what's crazy is I got a chance to have that experience young. So by me having that experience young, when I rented my first apartment all by myself. So I never ever got a place with somebody. So I was able to get things done at my own time, and I was able to depend on just myself. And a lot of times when you depend on yourself, you have no shortcomings but you. You can't say nobody held you back. So what end up happening was once I, even with my girlfriends, like you would know, like I noticed that at times where as though I go out and I overspend, I knew when I had my bills due, all right, I need to kind of slow down a little bit, and it wasn't their fault. Growing up, you don't understand money a lot of times, but you understand when you have bills, and when you have bills, you end up realizing that it's time for me to actually fall back and sit my butt down. That's when I end up learning the part of life when you have to actually sit down and be able to watch TV and chill out. Because that's the only way you're gonna be able to get your money up, especially when you done overspent and you're not quite understanding the ramifications of actually having no money to last you for the next week. So when I talk about being alone, I think it's a helping phase for most, especially men. I can't speak for others, but I'm gonna say for men. And men today deal with so much mentally with thinking they gotta put up a shield to think that they able to take care of everything. Well, I'm sorry to tell you, that's not the way it is no more. You cannot take care of everything. You cannot rely on just you when you have so much baggage over your head that you're supposed to take care you're looked at to take care of. And the thing is, with the expenses of everything today, it takes two. We live in a era now where as though you're being penalized to make you think that you have to be a millionaire. I'm here to tell you, everybody can't be a millionaire. But you live in a facade because a lot of times when you're put in this position for you to think that you need to be a millionaire, it's normally not by you or your peers. It's normally from the other side. As a man, I can tell you just from dealing with women, they would tell you a lot of things, but at the same time, the reason why I was able to learn the traits and the do's and the don'ts was because having girlfriends young and also being outside talking to females. So I wasn't scared, I wasn't nervous, but also having a mom, a bunch of aunts, sisters, you able to see the sneakiness and the cattiness and you just see so many things to the point you understand how things kind of play out. If you understand what I'm talking about, you understand how things play out. And that may be my mom, my people around me, like my aunts and whatnot, cousins. You see how they move, and you see how things are normally given just because you're pretty, just because you're a female. There's nothing wrong with that. I get it, but as men, we live in a real life era now, and a lot of men I done seen fall short on life and becoming lonely, not alone, becoming lonely to the measures of life that put them in a position where as though they have nothing to fall on. And then they end up wishing that they were alone so they can understand what their next move is going to be. But what tends to happen is they end up losing everything, they end up falling short, and then the person that they put their all into end up leaving them lonely. They put all that love out there, spend their money, their resources, had kids, and they're left trying to, fend for themselves, trying to survive, trying to float, so they can be able to survive and be able to maintain life and have a comfortable life, whatever that means today. Comfortability is far reached today. Like when you get a paycheck, it is going. In most cases, it is going quick as work your hours. It's already being spent because you're already looking up, saying to yourself, like, damn, when I get paid, I got this to pay, And that's one of the things that's probably why a lot of people not even doing auto pay no more, because auto pay done scared a lot of us, including me. And what's weird is auto auto pay will put you in such a bad predicament. You'll be sitting there. You're like, yo, I'm about to go buy this. You go to look at your account. You're like, yo, I'm hold on, something off. You go to look, you look, you're like, oh, I got this joint on auto pay. Damn. They done took the money. They'd take the money out sometimes a half a week or maybe 3 days, 2 days, sometimes even, you know what I mean? Sometimes it's a week. I remember electric company. That's why I stopped doing auto pay with the electric company. I don't know what it is with the electric company. They be pulling money and it's never the same. Think about it. Your electric bill is never the same. It's wild. But this is why I say, like, a lot of times as men, we have to do things alone. And if you lucky, you blessed to have that special someone that pushes you, that don't sit up there and antagonize you or make you feel like you have shortcomings. Because one thing I noticed, and I picked this up later in life. I never paid it no mind early, but I noticed it later. I noticed that when I was looking at, look, I'm going to just speak of the Mexican culture. It made me see something different in Mexicans. I was looking at a group of Mexicans. It might have been, I thought it was 8, but it was more like 10 because as I was leaving, pulling off, I went to a store in the morning time. And when I was leaving, I seen 2 more. So I don't know how many was up on his roof, but this is the part that really caught my eye. I noticed in the middle of the roof, it was a person that was, a lot of them were small, like short. It has nothing to do with the story. But I was looking at them because I was like, damn, they putting in that work. And it was early in the morning. It was like 7, maybe like 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. And I noticed it was a female in the middle. And while she was in the middle, I'm looking at her and I'm like, yo, that's crazy. But then I'm thinking to myself, is that crazy? It's not. I think in certain cultures, why certain cultures succeed and end up having a lot more, or they work together, they have a family base that is more together, is because they set themselves up that way. They set themselves up to be family oriented. Whereas though, this is wild. This is probably why you don't see, if you notice within certain cultures, especially I'm going to talk about the black culture, we talk about mental health so much. And I'm not going to say that. I'm going to just say, I think we talk about mental health so much to the point it starts to turn into something like we just making up stuff just to complain. But in actuality, the mental health really does stem from the family. It has nothing to do with you just grew up rough. You got denied access to certain privileges. Nah, that comes from the family setup, the family setup structure. If we are set up to feel alone, not alone, to feel lonely, was though you missing dad, you don't have dad around, it become a lonely place. The women thinking they can take charge, when actuality, when shit hits the fan, their sons got to be the ones to step up, and they damn near 9 or 10 years old. So you become surprised when you're looking at the killings and murders today, because a lot of boys are lonely. They don't know what it's like to be alone. Because every time you look, they need reassurance from their friends, from the gangs, the clique. And a lot of times when you see that they need reassurance from the clique, you ever notice they never ride out by themselves. In most cases, they never ride out by themselves. They're normally encouraged by the people that surround them. And when you're encouraged by the people that surround you, you're never going to be alone, because you're never going to be able to have a time and peace by yourself to be able to think. And what's sad, the only time you're going to be able to think is when you're in a prison cell. And we all know what happens after that. Some can say, but your life might not be over. It might be giving you another chance at life to be able to sit down for a minute. Why the hell you got to be locked up to be able to do that? Why you got to be Why you got to hit the systematic depression button to always sit down? Got to be locked up. A lot of situations today that we kind of look at, a lot of us are lonely. And we can't get out of our own way. It's always a reason. I grew up this way. I'm this way, but you know better. A lot of times, even when you know better, you don't even do better. And it's because you're not alone. This is one of the reasons why when you are alone, you're able to sit there and reflect on life, and you're able to understand what it is and what it takes for you to be able to succeed. I've never seen a person that was alone that didn't know how to put themselves on the right path. Because when you talk to somebody that's alone, what tends to happen is they'll look at you, oh man, I'm on my grind right now. Like you talk to some of your boys, you'll be like, yo, I'm on my grind right now. Like I'm trying to get this, I'm trying to get this off the ground. And it's crazy because when I first realized that I had to do things alone is when I started going backwards. And a lot of us see this. We tend to go backwards, and you know you should be going forward. And you try to look around and say to yourself, why am I going backwards? You know why. You know why. You know who in your way. You know who is extracting your resources. Don't get caught up in this whole thing. It costs to be the boss. It costs to be the boss, but guess what? Everybody don't have to be the boss. Most of us clock in. So if you clock in, get your paycheck and do right by the money that you make. Don't get suckered out of your funds into becoming lonely. Know how to be alone so you can get right back on the right path. All right?